Hi, my name's Judy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a subject that is probably going to end up to be a little controversial. There will be people who will misunderstand what I'm saying and they're going to get angry with me. But if you are that person, or probably many people, depending on who actually watches this, I'm just going to ask that you try very hard to make it all the way through the video. You don't have to agree with anything I'm saying to just sit and listen. Try to stay open-minded and hear what I'm actually going to say. Before we do that, though, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, I really would appreciate that, and maybe the notification bell if you'd like notified when I upload another video. Okay. I want to talk about prayer. And okay, so I'm not even sure where to begin because there's so many angles to this. Most of us pray because in some way because of what we were taught to pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, that kind of thing. Some of us, of course, have different religions, so there's different prayers. And in some religious faiths, you pray several times a day at certain times, or you only pray when you have certain clothes on, or it just really depends on the religious practice. But I think almost every religion, whether it's a mainstream one or not, has some prayer attached to it. Prayer, in my understanding, from the different religions that I have looked into, prayer is really supposed to be about, generally, supposed to be about gratitude, acknowledgement of the gifts that have been given, or the trials and tribulations that we have successfully kind of traversed through. People tend, though, to ask God for things. Please let me get that job. Please make my uncle well. If you do this, I will never do this again. That kind of thing. And the problem with all of that is the assumption that you can change God's mind. That he'll say, you know what, 15 people prayed about this, I ought to do something different. There's two problems with that. One is that, this is going to sound so crazy, God's not in charge. God itself is not orchestrating what goes on, good or bad. God is simply sitting back, loving us each, and allowing us to live the life that we chose to live so that we could become closer to God. And that doesn't mean that we will have no suffering, or that we won't, that we'll always get the job we wanted, or that, we can pray for money and it will suddenly show up. When I say God doesn't care, what I mean is there's nothing that can happen in life that would cause God to be disappointed in us, or to think that whatever we're going through isn't something that's worthwhile. From a human point of view, we feel sometimes backed into a corner. I'll tell you a story. This happened to me. My husband, who's an extremely talented person in many different areas, used to be very interested in photography, and that was what he wanted to make his vocation. He went to school, got his degree, and went out into the world and looked for some jobs. And it was very, very, very difficult to find a job in photography. It's just not one of those fields that there's a lot of openings for. And he wasn't thinking about that when he went to school. He just loved photography. So he finally got a job at a scientific place where they took pictures of products for catalogs that they made. You know, they sold beakers and stuff like that. It was a job. It wasn't exactly what he had wanted, but he liked it. He liked the people he worked with, and it was really, really nice. And then he got laid off. And why he was getting laid off, it was happening all over the city. People were not having in-house photography anymore. They were just hiring out, you know. So we had 3 children and a house that we just purchased. And I was teaching childbirth education classes, but once or twice a week it wasn't that lucrative. So we really needed him to get a job, you know. And there just happened about maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks into unemployment. He saw a job opening at a bank in our city, a fairly big bank in our city. And it was in their advertising department. So that kind of sounded good because they were already doing their own advertising and they were very large. So that would make sense that maybe they would go ahead and hold on to that department, you know. And they were advertising for a photographer. So he applied. And I remember the night, the day that he applied, that night I was on, we had a stationary bike and I was riding on the stationary bike. And I was praying. Perhaps out loud, but maybe in a whisper so nobody heard me because I was in the basement where they were all upstairs, you know. And I was on the bike. Wasn't going that fast. I was going and I was praying, please God, please let him get this job. Oh, we really need it. And I mean, he deserves it. He's so talented. He works so hard. And, just please let him get this job. And I had enough faith in God. I didn't understand the things I understand today, but it was back kind of when I was a little bit ignorant of things. But I was just going with the traditional, please God, make me let this happen. And about 4 or 5 days maybe after, please let him get this job. My husband got the letter in the mail. We're so sorry. We've hired somebody else. Thank you for applying. Good luck in your future endeavors. I can honestly say it was the first and only time in my life that I was sort of angry with God. It's like, what the heck? Like, this is a good person. He's a hard worker. He's got so much talent. And I asked you, and you didn't give it to me. I was mad and disappointed. And for a long time, I didn't talk to God. I just gave him the cold shoulder. And I'm sure he was very upset about that. Well, it ended up, about a year later, we found out that the photography department at that bank had now closed. And I mean, in the meantime, my husband decided to change careers altogether because he was also a very good carpenter, very different skills, but very talented as far as artsy kind of. He had a real talent for that too, and he decided to move into that field, and it has led him to where he is today, where he's, a boss, he's a manager at a hospital, and is doing very well. We couldn't have foreseen that. I couldn't have when I was praying. Please let him get that job. Things work out though, don't they? In the long run, they work out. We just don't see what's in the future. I don't really know that God does either. I don't think he's even fooling with us that way. For a while I thought, he didn't give us that job because there was another one down the road that was going to be better. But, I think he didn't have anything to do with it. I don't think God When I say God doesn't care, it sounds so cold, but I mean it in the best of ways. I don't think God gets into that kind of stuff because it doesn't matter. We're all coming his way, one way or the other. We're all coming his way. We're all helping each other. We're all helping ourselves. And we're so deeply connected with each other that we can't help but pull forward. And when things come up and opportunities come our way, we take them or we don't, and then the path is still there. It's just a detour. Sometimes it's a more straight path. I don't think God is putting, can you imagine the thousands and millions of souls that he'd have to be fiddling around with? Okay, so that part, maybe people go, okay, well, maybe I can kind of see that. I'm not sure. I mean, what about coincidence? Is that God's hand in something? No, it's probably a coincidence. Or it's the hand of soul, that is other souls you're working with, creating a space for something. Because for them, it's their experience too. It's all about the experience, really. In my mind, just my mind. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is the part that's going to really make people angry. And I don't want to make you angry. I want you to think. First, let me get to the science of this. Scientists agree that everything, every single thing, the air we breathe, our hair, the rock out in the garden, the planets, my Mountain Dew bottle, everything, every piece of matter, every ounce, I don't know, of gas. I know there's a different measurement than ounce for gas. Every single thing we can see, hear, smell, touch, or anything else, anything that exists in the world that we know and in the world that we aren't sure of or we haven't learned about yet. Everything in heaven and earth. All are basically just energy. Energy on different levels, different tones, we would say if it was sound, different vibration. Everything is energy. This mouse on my computer is energy. You would say, well, yes, it's matter though, right? But matter is made up of energy. So everything is energy. Do I think prayer works? If, let's say, you had a family member who was very sick, and everybody in the family was praying every night, please God, make him better, make him better. Again, we're asking God to take over this person's life and well-being. Very intrusive if you think about it. But still, we're asking God, we're not even asking, we're telling him what to do. Hey, pay attention over here. My loved one is ill, and I don't like that. So you better go and fix him. Now, we don't say it that way, of course. But when we pray for someone else, we are intruding in their experience, what they're here to learn. And it doesn't mean that when we pray for something it's going to happen. We might not change the outcome, but we are intruding on the experience that they're having because we have no idea what their added karma is. We don't know why they're here. This might be a part of it. And we're trying to change things up for them. For why? Because we love them and we want them to be happy and healthy and live a long life or whatever. Yes, of course. But in the bottom line, it's what we want. What we want. I want that person to be well. I want that person to be alive. I want that person to be healthy and be able to do all the things that that person wants to do. That's what I want. So God, make that happen. Because that person's a very good person and he deserves again, first off, I don't think God gets involved in the details. We are already doing that with each other, and that's our choice. So I don't really believe that just praying and asking is going to change anything. I do, however, believe that if you put positive thoughts, positive energy, not asking for something particular, just positive, you're going to be fine, just like almost a mantra in the way you look at and approach whatever the situation is. I believe that energy, because we are all connected with energy, there's a lot of space between me and you, but that space is filled with vibrational energy. And if I throw positive energy at you, it's very possible that the energy of that soul will be uplifted. Will it change its added karma? Will it change what it's here to do? Will it change that experience? I don't know. It does seem that when we put positive energy towards something, everybody is uplifted, including the sick. So some people would say, well, when I pray, that is what I'm doing. And it probably is. And that's probably why prayer appears to work so well sometimes. But I don't think saying, God, please make him well, is positive energy. That's hoping and assuming you don't have enough of what it takes to give this person. And so you have to rely on a third party. I know God's all-encompassing, all-powerful, but we have to remember that God knows everything. Everything any soul has ever learned, seen, done, or smelled, God already knows that, because we are a part of it. Every experience we have becomes a part of it. And so does that sick person. Prayer, please let him get the job. Please let him not be sick. Please let me be able to pay my income tax bill. Please make sure they don't turn off the water. Please, can I go on a vacation to Hawaii for 2 weeks? Please, can I hit the lottery? All you're doing is that's not positive energy. That's kind of weak energy. I'm not capable. I can't control this thing. I can't do anything about this, so will somebody take over for me, please? Make it happen. If you went to work, and I know it's a little different, but it's kind of a good metaphor. If you went to work and you were supposed to do a job, and something came along that you either didn't think you could do or didn't remember how to do, you could say to somebody else, can you please do this for me? And there's a few nice people at the office that might go, oh, absolutely, just send it my way, that's no problem. But if you did that constantly, every day, people are going to start to go, what's up with you? Why can't you do anything yourself? It's a little bit different, of course, when we're asking for some blessing for somebody. But all we need to do, we don't need to ask anybody for anything. Again, I don't believe God gets into the details anyway. My gosh, he'd never get any rest. But all we need to do is think positive thoughts. Our energy can fill that person, that soul, that energy, much more quickly, directly. Does that make sense? When we ask God to change his mind and do something else, which is what we're generally doing, first off, we're under the impression that God has already made a decision about this person. God's not in charge of that. That person's in charge of that, along with maybe other people in his circle, his close-knit circle, because those people came together to work in a lot of cases. But assuming God, even if you believe that God's hands are involved, don't you think he might know what he's doing? If God is actually making these choices for us, kind of guiding our way with the choices that he feels would work best for us, why do we doubt that he knows what he's doing? Why do we think we have to, oh, you know what, by the way, he's sick. That's not right. You got to fix that. You did that wrong. You made a mistake, God. fix this right now. So when you pray, instead of asking for so many things, even if it's really important, first take the time to thank God for anything. If this person is sick, thank you so much for this person in my life. I'm so grateful. Now, God probably didn't put him in your life either, but this is a more positive way to do it. I'm so grateful for his presence. I'm so grateful for his friendship, whatever it is. And then sit quietly without any other questions or requests. I'd like to take what's behind door 2. None of that. Sit quietly and think about this person who you're praying for. And start saying, you can say it out loud, you can say it in your mind. You're going to be fine. I'm right here. I love you more than anything, and I will be right here with you the whole time. And you're going to be absolutely fine, and that kind of thing. Thinking of them in a positive way, rather than getting a news report that says, oh, this has happened, news report meaning a text or an email or something. This is how this person is doing, and it sounds a little bit like, oh, I hope he's okay. You can say, well, he's going to be fine. He's 100% going to be fine. I know he is. Positive. Now, I know sometimes that isn't how it works out. And you think, boy, did I waste all that energy on positive? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You did if you assume that's the only life the person has and something's now permanent. But what you did was the bond between those two souls, that shared energy, has uplifted everybody and made this bond closer on a soul level, so that next time you guys come into this world to figure out what you're going to do, to learn whatever it is you have to learn, you could work more easily together and be positive partners on your journey to your destiny in that life. There's a lot in our hearts. In our hearts, the soul of a human is its heart, meaning the soul is your heart. There's a lot more in humanity that can be looked past. And we can lovingly acknowledge that our more authentic selves, our soul, completely connected to each other, sometimes more closely than others because of the experiences we shared and the bond that's formed. That's the gift. You can thank God for that, or you can just thank soul for that. You can thank life for that. So prayer, is it intrusive? It can be. Whether you believe that God has his hands in everything or not. But I think most people do believe God is like controlling something. And if you assume that and you pray to him, remember what you're asking. You're asking him to change his mind. He's made a mistake. Do what I want instead. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's more about positive energy and gratefulness. Grateful for whatever it is. Gratitude is the number one thing that will make a person happy. And the thing that supports you when you're not feeling so happy. Gratitude. All right, I guess that's it. I'll leave it on that note. Let me know what you think. And I know there might be some people who are angry with me about this. That's okay. It's just the way I see it. I'm not telling you that's how you should see it. Just another way of looking at something. Definitely hit the like button, though. Even if you like to hate me. You know what I mean? That's it. For now, I do appreciate your coming here and listening and maybe hopefully getting involved with some of the things I'm saying. I'd love to have a real conversation with people. So thank you very much again, and I will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day. A grateful day.